organizing this conference with the objective of bringing to the fore the necessity of improving maritime domain awareness of the Gulf of Guinea and the need for member states to collaborate in terms of intelligence gathering and information sharing. It is to be noted that the United States has assisted many African states to establish coastal surveillance stations, hence the need for collaboration and cooperation to meet the emerging challenges.
Nigeria generates a significant proportion of its revenue from the activities of the Nigerian Customs Service. But there are concerns that the service may not be able to meet its revenue target for this year if the delay in the completion of the joint Seme-Krake border post in Nigeria's southwest continues. In this next report, our correspondent Bola Fraser takes a look at the situation at the Seme Customs Command.
It's a wet but busy day, a usual atmosphere at the Seme border. Here, trade between Nigeria and the rest of Africa, and indeed the world, is being facilitated. But there's been a drastic reduction in the volume of business transactions, and it's feared that this could affect Nigeria's revenue generation. In this hall, the Comptroller of Seme Area Command of the Nigeria Customs Service, Mr. Othman Saleh, highlights the major constraints affecting revenue generation. Most prominent is the non-completion of the renovation work on the Seme-Krake joint border post being executed by the European Union.
The abandoned border reconstruction project at Seme has also become like an albatross around our neck. It tends to cast wrong impression about the command and the nation in general, especially among the uninformed. For long, there has not been activity. So in the final analysis, the contract was terminated in June. But another contractor is yet to be engaged.
These are rice. These are rice. What do you have? It's not all bad though, as in the last 6 months, the command has recorded success in the area of seizure of contraband goods, as well as collection of duties on imports and exports.
Our command made 557 seizures with a duty paid value DPB of over 290 million naira. The seizures comprise the following commodities: motor vehicles, rice, vegetable oil, second-hand clothing, frozen poultry products, shoes, bags, textiles, soaps, etc. The suspects arrested are 21 in number, some of whom had been arraigned, bailed, and under investigation.
For the command, transactions at this border can be made easier if those with businesses in the domain make genuine declarations of cargo. For those that refuse to follow due process, the command says it has declared war on smugglers.
Still ahead on the news track and on business news, the NLNG lifts a force majeure on its gas exports. Plus sports news. Stay with us.
You see, life has just got easier. You stay connected to Channels TV, where news and innovations are shaping our world. Simply log on to channelstv.com to get the breaking news. Browse the homepage according to what matters to you. Tap on the extended coverage of business, sports, politics, lifestyle, infotech, entertainment, health, world news, and lots more. Click on the live link and see the news in real time. Do you want to watch the latest video of the day? It's just a click away. Friend us on Facebook, YouTube, follow us on Twitter, Google+, participate in Channels TV poll, and share your comments. It's a website you can talk to. Your voice will be heard.
ChannelsTV.com. The news at your fingertips.
Time now for some business news. After a blockade that cost $475 million in lost revenue, Nigeria's liquefied natural gas has lifted a force majeure on its gas exports. The NLNG ships were grounded for 3 weeks over a tax dispute with the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. As well as clearing the $140 million back levies to NAMASA, the Nigeria LNG will in future pay the 3% levies demanded. The NLNG is 49% owned by Nigeria State Oil Firm, 25.6% by Shell, 15% by Total, and 10.4% by ENI. Africa's biggest cement producer, Dangote Cement PLC, recorded a 52% rise in profits in the first half of this year after record sales here in Nigeria. Revenue rose 28% to 198.5 billion naira as cement sales in Nigeria advanced 29% to 6.76 million metric tons. Profit after tax for the 6 months through June advanced to 107.7 billion naira from 70.8 billion naira a year earlier. Lending rates at the interbank market dropped marginally to 10.16% from last week's average of 10.3%. The CBN announced on Tuesday that it will impose a 50% cash reserve requirement on public sector deposits to curb the practice where commercial banks lend the money back to the government at a profit. The secured open buyback eased marginally to 10.1%. Overnight placement dropped to 10.15%, while call money closed at 10.5%. On the international scene, as Egypt continues to experience intense political turmoil, activists say more than 100 people have been in Cairo at a protest held by supporters of ousted President Mohamed Morsi. However, the health ministry has put the death toll lower at 38. The army ousted Mr. Morsi on July the 3rd and has been formally accused of murder relating to a 2011 jail outbreak and of links to the militant group talking about Hamas. Both pro- and anti-Morsi demonstrators held huge protests overnight in the capital.
Tension in Cairo after Egyptian security forces shot dead dozens of people supporting deposed President Mohamed Morsi. The wounded are treated in a field hospital and the dead packed in body bags in this crowded morgue. The number of victims are hard to determine. This doctor says 29 bodies are coming so far. She says several had their heads blown off. The Muslim Brotherhood has been staging a largely peaceful Cairo sit-in since Morsi was removed from power by the military on July the 3rd. But violence has spread in several cities, killing more than 200 and revealing a deeply polarized nation. In the meantime, the Interior Minister says Morsi, who has been accused of murder and other crimes, is likely to be transferred to the same Cairo prison former leader Hosni Mubarak has been held. At a news conference, Interior Minister Mohammed Ibrahim told reporters that Morsi's fate will be decided by the investigating judge.
He will decide on where he will be detained and where his temporary detention will be. Once the decision has been taken, if it will be in one of the prisons belonging to the Ministry of the Interior, he will be held in a highly secured prison to prevent any attacks on it.
Tora on the edge of Cairo is the jail where Mubarak, his sons and members of the former president's cabinet have been held after they were detained in the wake of the uprising that erupted in January 2011.
We're still in North Africa, where Tunisia is holding a state funeral for opposition leader Mohamed Brahimi, who was killed on Thursday by gunmen in the capital, Tunis. His death has sparked widespread unrest in that country. One protester died in overnight clashes in the southern town of Gafsa. The Interior Minister said 58-year-old Mr. Brahimi was killed with the same gun as a fellow left-wing politician, Chokri Belaid.